suppose now I do have the money to do the, if I want to do a superior customization on the heavy blaster rifle. That's not a bad idea. Like, that's just a flat statistical upgrade.
You got the hard points for it.
It does. Good. At the moment, the heavy blaster rifle doesn't have any.
It can have like 4. They have 4 hard points, right?
Yeah, and some stuff's 2, like the grenade launcher's 2.
The superior is basically like replacing all the not as good parts with like aftermarket better parts.
Yeah.
On the internals of it is how I see that.
Yeah, pretty much.
For like upgrading it.
So that's probably another thing that would be a day or two, but then again, now is also probably the time to do it, unless another emergency job comes up. This heavy blaster rifle is quickly becoming one of my 2 best friends. My 2 best friends are a droid and a gun.
That sounds like a bounty hunter to me.
So yeah. All right. Well,
how quickly Garo becomes your 3rd best friend.
I like Garo, but we haven't fought alongside one another.
We haven't spilled blood along each other. By each other's side.
All right. 5,000 credits. Way more than I paid for the gun to get it. Honestly, terrifyingly upgraded. Base damage 11, and auto generates 1 advantage. Which makes auto fire easy.
And he's like to fully upgrade. It'll be 2 days. 2 days of work. A's will the proprietor at A's that I remember the name of without having to check, which is quite impressive. Sean Aldell of Aldell's Arms and Armor, also known as A's, will said you'll kind of have to work on it in between selling other people's stuff and other projects.
Right.
It'll be 2 days to get all the internals upgraded.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the business.
I'm spending a lot of money there recently between both of these weapons and then just constantly upgrading them. And while I'm here, Viper Knight, before I forget.
Go for it.
Just
does not hurt to have
something. There, 250. Cool. Fortunately, my credits have ended in 45 for a while now, and I keep spending it in increments of like 50. So it's like.
I thought you weren't someone who would. You're not someone who would
go
out of your way to change that, but you are someone who still bothers you.
Well, and the big thing is that the math, the mental math of it is what really annoys me. I don't feel like I'm great at mental math anyway, and
that's something specifically. That kind of mental math is one of my superpowers. I feel like
5, so 8, 395. I got there. I tend to do okay on hit points. It's gold. That's just sometimes it's just like he'll give you the information for 2,124 gold and a copper piece. Damn it! Now I need to put 9 silver and 9 copper. But
God be damned.
Truly, this is the main villain of this campaign.
I want to introduce a magic shop in a D&D campaign that has all the sweet magic items, but always has weirdly specific amounts that they charge for and refuses to let you pay anything but that specific amount.
It'd be so much fun.
Just to drive players crazy.
You better be ready for another Leonard, though, because it's going to be this immediate, like, this throwaway shopkeeper you had? We love him. We're going to come back here all the time.
Sure, his shop's in an enemy nation and we have to go across the sea to buy things from him. It's not going to stop me.
Sure, he's sending us on really weird fetch quests. Who cares? He pays well, and I like this guy. We sold him a crazy necromancer. We almost sold him a party member. Mm-hmm. He kept offering to buy him, at least. How much for the lycanthrope? He doesn't own me. Oh, of course. How much for you? We sell him a book and he immediately tries to sell us the same book at twice the cost.
Because he's a good businessman.
Oh.
Good old Leonard.
Good old Leonard.
What would you like to do? You get a night's sleep. You go and you get the blaster dropped off.
Yeah, drop off a blaster.
There's no immediate, we need you, now that you're unarmed. Quickly.
You've given away all your guns. Quick, get here right away.
We have a big fight we need you to get involved with.
Well,
it sounds like they have something they're in the works on getting sorted out that they'll probably send you on, but it may take some time. So you have some time.
Swing by and get a drink at the Comet's clubhouse.
Okay.
Because I assume they'll let me.
Yeah, I'll let you come by. You're an honorary Comet at this point.
I suppose I could also just see if Garo has anything specific he needs me to do. Any parts to track down or...
He says, take a day, go have some fun. He doesn't know what he doesn't know yet, and he'll have a list for you to pick up tomorrow. Because he says, I think I finally gotten to it. I know the last 7 or 8 things I need to replace on this thing, and she'll be airborne in no time. I think I know him. I gotta figure out what I need.
The maiden flight is certainly your honor. In case it crashes and burns. Not that I have any lack of faith in your mechanical ability.
Just a lack of faith in this ship.
Yeah. Until I see it fly. Until I see it fly, it's grounded forever. Yeah, I don't know. Does Skull need anything? Does he need any equipment? You know what? I think, assuming he's got a quote-unquote hard point, like an armor hard point, that integrated ascension gear is only 350. And I feel like that's not a bad thing for him to have. And if he has to, he can Princess Leia me across the gap. Because that is in the rules that you can, like... It's a pretty basic check to, like, not lose a grip on somebody if you're trying to, like, just hold on to them and ascend. I just think it's a fun upgrade for him. I want it for myself eventually. So I want to try and track down a shop that I can get that equipment at, or / a shop that would be willing to do that kind of upgrade on a terrifying battle droid.
Finding the part is certainly doable. Finding someone who knows how to install it that you would trust, less so. You think that Garo probably could. Like, he's a good enough mechanic. He could probably install it for you if you wanted him to, if you trusted him to, for free. You think that he would be just as good, probably, as anyone else for installing it, as anyone else would be willing to try, and would be free. So
I'll probably just I'll just have Garo do it.
Okay. He said like he'll install at some point during this day while he's looking at those looking at what parts he needs you to go pick up for him. So Skull's staying behind for the day while you go about doing anything else. But you can definitely go
it's mostly just tracking that down and
gonna go hang out.
Go see how the Comets are handling their. Is there gonna be a funeral or a wake or anything for Gil?
You know what? Yeah, there is, and it's tomorrow.
I'll go to that, or I'll plan on going to that.
Yeah, so they're gonna do like a procession, where like they're gonna like all ride on bikes, and they're gonna have like one empty bike like tethered to some of them to go with them in like honor of him, and they'll go, probably like put his body in an incinerator and shoot the dust out into space somewhere. But it's we're gonna put him between. We're gonna put 4 bikes backwards together and burn his corpse up in the thrust, the way any biker would want to go. But yeah, there'll be kind of a wake for him the next day.
Yeah, I'll plan on going to that.
Okay.
I don't have fancy clothes to wear.
But they won't be in fancy clothes. You don't have a matching leather jacket to wear, but they're probably all going to be in their cuts.
Yeah, Skull and I'll show up to that, partially just in case shit goes south.
And going to the clubhouse the day before to learn this and to grab a drink with people and stuff, like, you can tell that it's rather jovial overall in there. People seem to be, they seem like talking with Conharin. Miria seems to be kind of busy you as usual back in her office, but also kind of busy planning stuff for this service the next day. But Conharan has said basically more or less the Nexaclaw gang has dissolved after their leader was gone. A majority of them have just kind of filtered into other gangs throughout the area,
Right.
but that removing him has more or less cemented their control of this district as far as when it comes to the spice trade. So things are looking very good for them financially at the moment. Things going good.
Glad to hear it. They're pretty much the few people that I wouldn't really want anything bad to happen to. I guess I wouldn't cry either, but I wish you no harm.
Done right by each other, so there's mutual respect.
I wish you no harm.
As
That's what
Tristan used to say to me after D&D sessions, don't die.
Don't die. It's like, oh,
that's
not.
that's
Thanks.
the closest thing I've ever heard from a compliment out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's kind of my day.
Mm-hmm. You get caught up
Kind of
with them, grab a drink.
the shop and just the kind of shopkeeping type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mods and whatnot.
Ooh. Garrow definitely installs it very well.
I could probably start erasing zip, zilch, nada, and nothing from my assets and resources.
I think that's fair. I'd say you have more than Zip, Zilch, and Nada at this point.
Besides, I should have this space open in case I ever actually get any resources. Need a place to put them. I also haven't covered the back of my character sheet in equipment and notes and stuff yet, which is it's always how you know you're in the beginning parts of a campaign. It's because your character sheet, the back of it, is still blank.
Next day, are you doing anything else that day?
No, yeah, I'll just Skull and I'll head to the wake. I guess Skull never knew Gil. I don't know if he would have liked him. I don't know if Skull likes anybody, but
Skull is designed to not really like anybody. He is programmed to defend the person that he's working for with and help acquire bounties.
Gil was fine. I never really knew him either, but guess I figured I'd show up to the wake. Seemed like a decent way to spend a day.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my strain is back up from that beating I took at the hands of a police droid. Like
and if you haven't already gone back up from whatever wounds you've taken,
I was at full.
Oh yeah, you stim packed yourself. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it felt like a good decision at the time, and then I didn't get shot at, so.
Better safe than sorry. How much is the stim pack? Like
25.
25?
Yeah,
25 credits to not out to for peace of mind. That's the cheapest insurance I've ever seen.
No, I have no issue with using that stim pack.
The service is nice, albeit a little crude. It's very much like a procession of all the gang gets together. There's a bike. They like as I said, they kind of have like electro tethers between a couple of the bikes to have his drive along with them. His body's kind of wrapped up, and they do literally like there's like an engine room of one of the processing plants near here, and he is more or less like slid along a conveyor belt and incinerated, and everyone kind of is just there for it and pour a shot of blue milk for the homie that's not here no more.
Pass around half a bottle of Corellian whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a bunch of new members who aren't patched in yet?
There seems to be a bunch, might be a strong word, but there's like 5 or 6 like more or less. What is it called?
I can't.
What's the term
I can't
for it?
remember either. Not rookie.
Not rookie. It's gonna bother me.
Not initiate. It's something sort of between rookie and initiate. New blood sounds good, but that's not the term either. Prospects.
Prospect. It's a prospect. That's a prospect. Yeah, there's probably like 4 or 5 new prospects who are probably the more well known of the Nexaclaw people, maybe, who were like, let's let bygones be bygones. Give us a shot here.
I shot at you, you shot at me.
My boss is dead. You have money. I work for you now. I'd like to have money. It seems like, yeah, there's probably a decent number of new recruits, new prospects in the group. Yeah, it's a nice ceremony. A couple people come up and speak. Conran has some sort of like funny story about like the first time Gil tried to ride the bike and how terrible he was at it as a younger man. And Miria seems ever stone-faced, although you do see like a sign of emotion on her, and it's just like reminiscing about her fallen son.
Yeah, I just stand at the back and I'm just kind of here.
Mm-hmm. You don't go up and share us. So there's one time I watched him die. That's all I know about Gil.
And like, it's most of the other bikers here are like,
I remember that time. That's so Gil. He's right. That's just like him when he died that one time.
Oh, I remember that too.
I remember like it was like a week or 2 ago. That's basically what it was.
Well, I'm glad they got some amount of catharsis.
Mm-hmm.
Some closure, I guess. Doesn't really seem like they needed it, but
seems more of like a let's honor him, not like a we need this is cathartic for us sort of thing. Yeah, it's a nice ceremony. Heck of an organization.
Well, good for them.
It takes up a decent chunk of the day. Are you wanting to do anything else with your day?
Not really. I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything specific. I'm just like waiting on a bit of equipment to be finished, and so I mean, the type of armor I want, I don't even know how to go about starting to track down. It's not necessarily something I can just wander through the streets looking for somebody hawking some extremely fancy custom-made armor.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm just sort of expecting that will have to wait a little.
You don't think it's very reasonable to track down now? You could certainly try. Not something that'd be an easy task by any stretch.
I don't think I suppose I could get some armor for the time being.
It's like an upgrade from what you're in right now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff is just 1 soak. I don't really necessarily want padded armor, which is 2. Armored clothing is 1 and 1. It would be a point of defense. That wouldn't be bad.
Defense gives like a setback die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Per point of defense.
Yeah.
Which might have been part of what made it even harder for your extra to try and shoot the bounty hunter.
Yeah, let's spend a K on armored clothing.
Okay.
It's just something that looks a little more bounty huntery than what I was wearing before. Might as well do that.
Okay.
It's not another point of soak or anything, but it is a point of defense, which is not a bad thing to have.
Not at all.
That can be significant. So that's probably a good idea.
All right.
I'll do that.
You can certainly buy some armored clothing. What does it look like?
I think kind of less, probably more vest than jacket. I mean, the armor plating isn't necessarily visible, like by the rules. It's just kind of sewn into it, so it probably doesn't look necessarily like like an armored chest piece or anything, but definitely like a like kind of a heavy duty vest. Probably just I'm probably just sleeveless under it.
Okay.
I guess I still have. I definitely don't wear the concealing robes around.
That's a specific
Yeah.
sort of deal.
Yeah, and definitely like the gun belt with the low slung heavy blaster pistol and pockets and pouches and stuff. I don't think Shistavanans wear boots.
Probably not, typically.
Because of the clawed feet. So they're probably just kind of like, not necessarily rolled up, but like cinched off, probably not too far below the knee.
Okay.
Yeah, just definitely like it is definitely just thicker and kind of more heavy duty than whatever I was wearing.
It's kind of padded gear you were before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quiet down, you.
That's enough out of you. Certainly get a hold of that. Look more intimidating, more well armored, ready for business.
I want to look less like just a smuggler off the street.
You look less like somebody who's from here and more like somebody who would work here at this point. Work here in a very criminal sense.
That's all I want.
Okay.
That's totally fine with me. Just a slight upgrade. I don't think it has any hard points. Not that it matters, because I don't. Oh, it does technically have one hard point. Not that it matters. I don't think I'm going to.
Can use it just yet.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put an upgrade necessarily into this.
Your droid friend does have an ascension kit now as well, and Garo gives you a list of parts and tells you to go to like track these down at the normal shops. He's got like a credit line at a couple different shops around, so you wouldn't have to like pay for them when you get there. It's all sorted, and asks you to go and track them down to keep working on the ship.
I will do that.
Okay. You're able to go and
Look, I'm looking for an atmospheric recondenser. Garo said to put it on his tab.
one of the pieces is definitely an atmospheric recondenser. What that does, you probably know. You have some mechanics knowledge, but I don't know what it does. I'm not a mechanic.
Well, obviously it recondenses the atmosphere.
Clearly, it recondenses the atmosphere. Atmospheric recondenser. And you also have a photon cinched ionic binding shaft you need to get, as well as other parts.
Right, yeah.
All the classics.
Well, it's some oddly specific stuff.
And going about, it'll take you like the better part of a day to track all these down between the different shops. But between your know-how and theirs and the list that Garo's given you, you're able to get everything on it and come back with it.
Come back with a bag of junk.
A hyper sled.
It's only a hyper sled of junk until it's installed.
Then it's freedom on the starry seas ahead. And with that, he feels that he has everything he needs to get this thing up and running, and wants to like really batten down the hatches and like get to work on this ship, and would like you to help him if you're willing.
Wasn't doing anything else, Garo.
So
you tell me to do something else until somebody else tells me something to do something else.
For the sake of installing all 3 of these, or all 7 of these parts, it'll be another like 3 days of work. And I want the same thing: 2 average and 1 hard mechanics check.
2 failures, 2 advantage. 3 success, 1 threat. And 2 success, 1 threat.
Nice. Between yours being more successes than threats, or more successes than failures, and his 2 triumphs between the 3 checks, he is like clearly in the zone. And with your help, like you guys make pretty short work of installing all of these parts. And as you're doing it, like, you're kind of seeing the thing come together. Like, the ship definitely, like this thing's still a hollowed out hunk of junk in the terms of, like, there's nothing going on inside of this. Like, this needs a lot of love to be turned into a functional ship for any function. But as far as, like, the components that make it run, you feel pretty confident in it. And he also, I'm going to say with these two triumphs, in this time, is able to get and install a final piece that is not always like stock on the aggressors, but is a very useful thing to have for them. Let me see if this thing has a name. I'm sure it does. He basically is going to be installing a safety limiter on this. So there's going to be, like, at the main control helm, a, like, what does it look like? What does a safety limiter look like? It's like a handle that you have to pull out and then push, like, pull out, twist, and then push forward that will deactivate the safety limiters on the ship, which basically means, like, this ship is so fast for its size that there are limiters that limit how quickly it'll turn to avoid it knocking out the pilot. And you can deactivate that with this functional piece, basically giving you a huge boost to how maneuverable the ship will become under that massive amount of speed, but will also, while doing that, put quite a bit of strain on all organic beings inside of the vessel. Which could be funny if, like, you know that you have more strain than somebody else, like strain threshold. You could just all of a sudden, like, punch that and, like, swerve it if they're on board your ship just to knock them out. Very interesting. But he's able to install
or me and somebody are having a fist fight in the back and Skull's piloting and he just does spins until we both pass out.
Until everyone passes out, Skull's just doing barrel rolls that masses. I mean, that is entirely
and then he just puts the ship in park, gets up, puts binds on the people who need to be put in binds.
This could entirely be a thing. Having a droid co-pilot with this ship could be very helpful. Technically, every maneuver you make with the inhibitors off, automatically you will suffer 3 strain. Right. And then every droid on board can suffer a strain at the DM's discretion. I think is how it's written. Strain. So, like, droids, if they're doing something crazy enough, the DM can be like, yeah, even a droid would suffer some system strain from doing this.
As the unstrapped down astromech droid is whistling while just, like, in terror while just, like, getting slammed against the wall.
Slamming all the walls, yeah. And Geralt, at the end of these 3 days, will ask if you want to be in it for its maiden voyage. Or if you want him to do it solo.
Yeah, sure.
He'll kind of boot it up, and it's kind of like it kind of you know it's got some old rusty spots, some old dust to kick out the back of the thrusters before it comes up, but he kind of brings it forward a little ways out of the kind of like garage cubby it's in, out to the central landing zone, and pops it up in the air, and it seems to be maintaining its own pretty well. And he kind of turns and looks at you and gives you a smile. He says, "Let's see what she can do." And he jets it, and this thing shoots across. And he does some like kind of maneuvering and stuff. For the sake of this, I won't make you suffer the strain.
Which of us has a higher strain?
You will suffer some strain while he's doing this, but he like puts this thing through a little bit of the paces to make sure it's working in it, and it holds up. It functionally stays up, stays going.
We don't crash
Doesn't seem to crash and die. Shields seem active. Not that you learned that by crashing into anything, hopefully. But he kind of takes on a little cursory spin. You help as like the co-pilot for this, keeping an eye on stuff, flipping switches every now and then, and it works. It works, and it seems to be fully functioning. He is confident that the weapons work, but decides not to test that out in his yard or in open air in the world here. He says that he has all confidence that the weapons are installed correctly and will work when they need to, though who knows.
As long as they're not installed backwards, they should be fine.
Should be just fine. He does also test out the tractor beam on the front of it, and it's functional. That it has ion as well as laser cannons on the front, so it can basically deal like strain or normal damage. And He doesn't test any of those, but the tractor beam is able to grab like a big hover sled in front of it and like drag it up to the front of it and seems to be functioning.
I'll admit, Garo, I'm relatively impressed. I had no doubt you'd get it running. I sort of assumed we'd crash and die.
I told you, this is a valuable ship that I've gotten my hands on. For the amount of effort that's gone into it, it's a little more, and the cost overhead's a little more than I was expecting total, but I'll still be able to flip this bad boy for quite the profit.
Well, hopefully whoever you killed for it doesn't have family members.
With the deal I got, might as well have killed him. Whoever the owner of the ship was before probably will, for the steal I got on this thing.
So you're admitting you stole it?
Might as well have. I'm admitting I might as well have.
Just now that it's running, I don't want the angry former owner causing you grief.
If he does, it'll be the grief he feels once he sees this bad boy running up and running again. Not because I did him wrong in any sort of way. The terms were agreeable to this individual. They got no right if they are angry.
You know, a lot of people on this planet ain't got any right to do the things they do.
During those days, your blaster was also finished. You're able to go and pick up.
That I do test out in the yard.
Okay. You're going to pull a piece of junk, and it seems a little more responsive. It seems like, basically, it is exactly the same as it was before, but everything's just a little tighter, a little more reactive. The trigger seems a little more hair trigger. Like, it's just able to, like, everything seems more responsive and higher quality. Like, just a bunch of internal components have been improved. Feels better. More better.
It's worth paying good money for good equipment.
Mm-hmm. Every advantage you can have out in this cold, hard galaxy.
And a heavy blaster rifle with auto fire and a spirit customization is a heck of an advantage out here in this cold galaxy.
That it is. That it is.
But I could mow down a whole platoon of stormtroopers.
You will also, kind of after that, the next morning, after the last day of work there, receive a call on your Nebula comlink.
Waking up with a headache from getting my brain rattled.
Inside of that ship. That ship is fast. Like, that ship is like TIE fighter fast whenever he's really gunning it. Like, it's a quick ship for its size. The ship that isn't only a seat for someone to sit in, moving that fast is pretty impressive, if jarring. And you receive a call from, again, not from the boss man himself, but someone saying that, like, Kadan Tazi has another job for you. He wants to discuss this one in person.
All right, I'll head over. I'll probably say we'll head over.
Okay. There's no attesting to it being a we instead of just you.
And me and Skull will head over.
Okay.
Be nice if they'd make him stop waiting in the lobby.
They do make him wait in the lobby.
Yeah, I figured.
Entering in, you kind of normal routine. However, the thing that is noticeably different this time is when you get up there, there's not as many people in the kind of lounge area, but when you enter up, he kind of gestures over towards one of the guards, and the like non-droid guards in the room go and like walk over to the people, and like there's a brief exchange in hushed words, and everyone leaves the room. There's literally the droids, you, and the boss man left behind in here.
Alright.
Says, sorry for the dramatics, but this particular job is delicate, and I don't trust hang-arounds to overhear it. Even ones that are trustworthy enough to sit in this room.
I won't tell you how to run your business.
I have been contacted by an individual who has something of great value that they're willing to part with in return for a very dangerous and delicate job to get done on Moon. This individual prefers to remain unnamed, and the exact nature of what they want and why is a bit foreign to me. but the price is right, and I would be willing to compensate someone for the acquisition of what he is searching for very handsomely to in turn get what he is offering the Syndicate. I give you the chance at this job because you seem a trustworthy sort. You have been efficient and have performed every task so far to the letter or beyond. And because of that, I think that you are someone who could have a chance to complete this one. Know, though, that failure, even in a small regard in this job, will at best put you at odds with the dominant force on the moon, if not end in your complete annihilation.
Well, I'll admit you're not doing a great job of selling it. Where am I going? What am I after?
The individual seeks a number of gemstones. I don't know the exact nature of these gemstones. I can give you a description of what they look like and what sort of container they'll be inside of. These gemstones are currently tucked away in the personal collection. I should say, collection's the right word, I believe, of Gracchus the Hutt. And you would know Gracchus the Hutt as the Hutt who runs Nar Shaddaa. Like, the head honcho of the moon. It says he's apparently obsessed with old pre-war paraphernalia, strange devices and pieces of history from long forgotten things. These gemstones are apparently valuable to this client, enough so that they're willing to part with something very valuable in turn to the Syndicate. They will be heavily guarded, both by individuals as well as security systems, and the collection of Gracchus is of course housed inside of his palace tower on the moon. Getting in, getting to it, and getting out undetected will be no small feat, but your compensation will be considerable.
I mean, I'm definitely willing to give it a shot, but I'm not entirely sure how.
I wish I had advice for you on this, as the completion of this job would be most helpful for our organization, but it's something a little beyond what I have any thorough knowledge of. Of course, anything you can think of that we would have access to that would be helpful in the completion of this mission, we will try and provide for you if it is something we have access to.
Well, if I think of anything, I'll definitely take him up on that offer. But for the moment, I need to. I need to sit at a big map table and plan. Or a throne would work as well, I guess. Sit brooding on the throne.
Going somewhere. Your throne of garbage back at the mechanic shop. And there's not. It's not a particularly time-sensitive mission. You have time to plan. Of course, the client would be a fool if he thought this would be done overnight. He, of course, wants to get off-world with these as soon as you are done. But take your time and let us know how we can help supply you with what you need.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely get the description of the gemstones and the case.
Seems to be a kind of, by the description, it's like a hinged case. It's not like a high security, Durasteel, like lockbox. It seems like something rather ornate and old. And he says that by the description you can tell what the gemstone should look like, and that there should be a total of 3 of them inside of this thing.
I'm probably going to want to get off world after this. Unless it goes just like so perfect. Somehow flawlessly perfect that I'm like, no need.
And I think that's a decent spot for us to stop for this session.
I'm gonna need
give you
some time to think about this one.
To think about a game plan for how you want to go about a job like this.
Sheesh. All right, what I'll do is I'll pickpocket a blaster off the first guard and kill a guy with a wrench and take a hostage.
So anyway, you'll stop Blazed. Don't go to the power scumbag school of espionage.
If there's anything I know about a gemstone heist, there's only one way to do it. 9 people will die.
Civilian casualties. Yeah, that's maximum casualties, period.
The Blue Star job did not go near as well as I assumed it would when I came up with the idea.
We'll see if yours goes better than I expected to.
I doubt that unless you have really low expectations. Good times. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Couple good combats and good equipment.
Good upgrades. You're well on your way to becoming a bounty hunter yet.
But they never hire me for bounty hunting.
Well, an assassination, bounty hunting. I mean, the person you were hunting, they just wanted dead, not alive.
It's true.
The other job, they'll gotta do a couple non-bounty hunting missions to get bounty hunting missions. You know, that's what they say. Crack a few bounty hunting missions to do bounty hunting. I don't know. That classic saying. 2 birds, I'm stone. 3 birds, fool me twice. 4 birds, shame on you. Whatever it is.
Close enough.